Hi, I'm so glad that you decided to take out 5 minutes of your time to watch this video to learn something new. If you like the video, hit the like or subscribe button for more videos from me on things that you can learn. I'm Shivraj Parshad. I'm a public communications and executive life coach, soft skills trainer, podcaster, and presenter. Now, have you ever wondered why, when you're doing a great interview and you ask that off-the-cuff question, you're suddenly left flummoxed or confused about what to do? What's the best strategy? Well, this video will answer all your questions, not just in the case of a media interview. Of course, if you want to be a spokesperson for your personal brand, your community, your organization, or your business, then of course, media interviews will get you very far with your publicity. But also, if you're interviewing for a promotion or a position, right? Well, when you're stuck and you don't know what to do and how to get out of the situation, most media trainers, when they train you, will with great aplomb unveil the strategy called bridging. So what is bridging? Very simply, let me help you visualize it. Bridging is really about building that bridge or that transition between a reporter's question or a questioner's question and your agenda. How do you transition from the question to what you're there to really talk about and get out of that uncomfortable situation? There has been considerable debate around bridging as a strategy in an interview. Now, 50% of my career has been as a journalist, so I know what it's like to be on the other side. And let me tell you, in today's hyper-news environment, there's a lot of pressure on the journalist or the questioner who comes to you for that interview. They have perhaps multiple beats they're covering, they've got different story ideas in their head, and when they ask you that question to the answer they're really seeking and you bridge, it may come across as you being evasive. So what's the best solution? I have a very simple strategy. Now, bridging, of course, cannot be dismissed. It is a great strategy to have in the back pocket if you're a good spokesperson, but you need to break it down and simplify it into 3 things: A, B, and C. It's as simple as that. But what are A, B, and C, you say, Shivraj? Well, before I get down to breaking it down and defining it, let's watch this clip. This is a clip of an interview with the actress Anne Hathaway in 2012 during the launch of a film, Les Miserables. Now, before the launch of the film and during all the publicity, the paparazzi caught her in a wardrobe malfunction, and that photograph was then sold to the tabloids. So in this interview, the first question the journalist asks is, of course, about the controversy and not the film. Let's take a look at how Anne Hathaway handles that.
Well, you had a little wardrobe malfunction the other night. What's the lesson learned from something like that, other than that you keep smiling, which you always do?
Well, it was obviously an unfortunate incident.
Yeah.
I think it kind of made me sad on 2 accounts. One was that I was very sad that we live in an age when someone takes a picture of another person in a vulnerable moment and rather than delete it and do the decent thing, sells it. And I'm sorry that we live in a culture that commodifies sexuality of unwilling participants, which brings us back to Les Mis, because that's what my character is. She is someone who is forced to sell sex to benefit her child because she has nothing and there's no social safety net. And so let's get back to Les Mis.
One of the most creative turns of a question I have ever heard, and I'm going to take it at that. That's fine.
So after watching that video, you probably have a fair sense of what bridging is and what I mean by A, B, and C. It's very simple. A, acknowledge the question. Always address the question, because if you don't address the question, the journalist will ask you the same thing in 10 different ways and get perhaps a little testy and aggressive. In Anne Hathaway's case, what she did really well was address the issue and not say that's a great question, that's an interesting question, because sometimes most trainers tell you to do that, that could be detrimental to you. Then, once you've addressed the question, you move to B, that is bridge. And bridging really is about using a turn of phrase. You could either say what is most important is, the real issue is, in my view and my perspective. Because at the end of the day, the journalist or the questioner is seeking something from you. You're the subject matter expert. You have the upper hand. In Anne Hathaway's case, she did have the upper hand. She managed to fit what happened, the incident, within the perspective of how awful it is that women are sexualized and commodified, and then she bridges it to the theme of the film very effectively. So that brings me to C. What is C? C is really about continuing. Continuing on to telling the story that you're there to tell, or the issue that you want to address. In Anne Hathaway's case, she very deftly takes the conversation to the film and why she's really there. In your case, you could of course repeat your messages, the messages that you've developed and that you want to convey in the interview. But more often than not, if you continue repeating the message once, twice, 3 times, and more than that, the journalist or the questioner will see through that. Now, a good trainer will get you to sit down and try and personalize that message. Bring in your own story, your professional story, maybe a few anecdotes and examples to really substantiate why you're there and what you're trying to say. So it's really about A, B, and C. But you're like Shivraj. Anne Hathaway is an actress. She does this for a living. How do I do it? It's very simple. If you want to get your A, B, and C right, it's about practice and training and skilling yourself. How do you do that? Write to me, shivraj@brevis.in, and I'll be glad to speak with you. And we could work together in either capacity. In a capacity of me coaching you one-on-one until you feel you're there, or maybe just a 1 or 2 sessions of training with you so you can get the skill right. It's all about trying to figure out how you can find that sweet spot and find someone like me to help you further along. So what's holding you back? Write into me. Until next time, stay safe and stay in touch.